Jake the Ballet Dog by Karen Lafrac, illustration by Marcin Barinsky. Wait for me, Jake, Allegra called to the little dog as he chased snowflakes. She was watching him to help her friend Richie. Look at the sugar plum fairy on top of that tree, Allegra said. Jake raised his head but spotted a tiny mouse ornament instead. He sprang for it with a hop, jump, and turn in the air. Bravo, Alexa smiled. You should be called Jake the Ballet Dog. Tomorrow, I'm going to take you to my dance class and dress rehearsal for the Nutcracker Ballet. The next morning at the dance studio, Allegra introduced everyone to Jake. A young ballerina came over and stroked Jake's ears and head and under his chin. Jake, this is Anna, said Allegra. In the ballet, she dances the role of Clara, who is given a nutcracker soldier for Christmas and dreams all her toys come to life. Jake widened his eyes at the word toys. Who do we have here? Asked Sergev, the ballet master, when he entered the studio. This is Jake. He's going to watch and listen to our rehearsal. I promise he'll behave, Allegra said. Sergev clapped his hands twice and gestured to the piano player to begin. Jake watched the dancers warm up at the ballet bar. They stretched their arms and legs and practiced bending their knees for pliés, using 5 basic positions. Now Jake assumed a doggy play position as he stretched his legs. Look at Jake, Anna said excitedly. It looks like he's doing a bow. Allegra got her gym bag and pulled out a small toy. That's not his only ballet step, Allegra smiled. Watch this, everyone, she said eagerly. Allegra tossed the toy softly across the room and whoosh, Jake was off. With a majestic tour en l'air, like a danseur Nobel, he caught it before it could hit the floor. All the dancers applauded, no one louder than Anna. The pianist played 2 chords that sounded like ta-da! I'll teach you some steps, Jake, said Anna. She shook the box of dog biscuits Allegra handed her. Copy what I do, and I'll give you a treat. Jake's ears stood up straight at the word treat. Jake watched Anna, and after a few flops, managed to perform a doggy arabesque. Pirouettes made him dizzy, but he was really good on point, where he got on his tippy paws to reach the biscuit Anna gave him. Sergev clapped his hands again and said, break time is over. It is time for dress rehearsal. We're going to put on our costumes and makeup and come right back, Allegra said. Stay on your special cushion and you can see the whole ballet from here. Jake was about to snooze when he heard an orchestra with lots of violins playing. The violin was Jake's favorite instrument. As the curtains opened, Jake saw an old-fashioned parlor with a Christmas tree. Anna, now dressed as Clara, and the other children were enjoying a holiday party. Suddenly, the music sounded mysterious. The lights dimmed as a tall, thin man swirling a velvet cape strutted onto the stage. Jake was on alert. He growled and raced over to nip the stranger on the heels. Stop! Yelled Sergev. Anna stepped out of character and led Jake back to his cushion. She spoke to him calmly. It's okay, boy. It's just a dancer playing Uncle Drosselmeyer. He brings us magical surprises. Jake sensed from her tone that nothing was wrong. He relaxed. When the rehearsal started, Jake watched Clara whirl around, holding a new wooden nutcracker soldier, her present from Drosselmeyer. But her brother Fritz tried to grab it. To Jake, it looked like a game of tug of toy. He was about to join in when, bam! The nutcracker fell and broke. Drosselmeyer bandaged it with his handkerchief and placed it in a doll's sleigh bed. A peaceful melody signaled that the party was ending. Jake watched the guests leave and Clara and Fritz go off to bed. Just when he thought nothing else would happen, Jake saw Clara return in her nightgown. She cradled the nutcracker in her arms and danced a solo, laid down on the sofa, and dozed off. Jake curled up on his cushion, too. Dong, dong, dong. The grandfather clock chimed 12, and Clara's dream began to unfold on the stage. Jake watched as Drosselmeyer returned to work his magic. All at once, the lights flickered, and Jake saw the Christmas tree grow taller and taller. Jake froze in amazement as some toys and ornaments came to life. First one, then two, then 12 people-sized mice crept toward Clara. Jake prepared to pounce on them, but pop! The harsh sound from a toy gun made him stop and quiver. It must be thunder, he thought. Then the Nutcracker and his soldiers charged into battle with the mice. Swords clashed, clink, clink. Clara raised her slipper to hurl at the Mouse King. Wanting to protect her, Jake scurried to the nearest mouse, barking loudly, "Ruff, ruff!" The mouse was so startled that it knocked into another mouse, who knocked into another mouse, and before Jake could bark again, all the mice tumbled to the ground. As the corps de ballet howled with laughter, Jake ran around the toppled mice and took off with Clara's slipper. Sergev sighed. "Next scene, please." Jake's eyes twinkled. Twirling among snowflakes were Clara and the Nutcracker soldier, now turned into a handsome prince by Drosselmeyer. Jake watched the prince place the Mouse King's crown, which had magically become delicate and glittery, on Clara's head. As though she floated down from a treetop, the Sugar Plum Fairy appeared and showed them to her sleigh. Her diamond tiara caught Jake's eye. It was Allegra! Luckily, the curtain closed for a scene change as Jake stood to greet her. Anna went to settle him and explain what would happen next. The Sugar Plum Fairy is happy the mice are gone and has invited us to the Kingdom of Treats. Treats? Did she say treats? As he sat and offered 2 paws, striking a begging pose. The music soared and the curtains reopened. Clara and her Nutcracker prince journeyed to an enchanted world and entered a candy castle that looked so real, Jake had to lick his chops. The Sugar Plum Fairy waved her magic wand for delicious sweets to come alive and entertain them. Jake's tail wagged back and forth as Spanish chocolates, Arabian coffee, Chinese tea, Russian peppermints, French bonbons, and Austrian ginger snaps danced to special music from their foreign lands. Then, candy cane flowers waltzed with ever so graceful petals. Before long, the Sugar Plum Fairy and a partner performed a pas de deux. Like a real fairy, she hardly touched the ground. Jake arched his neck to follow her as she was lifted high up. Then he lowered his gaze as she was carefully returned to the floor. A lullaby began, and Drosselmeyer strolled by one last time. Everyone waved goodbye, and Jake watched the sleigh carry Clara and her prince home. Jake yawned. The excitement of the ballet was making him sleepy. While he rested, he noticed that the stage was changing back into the parlor. Clara was still asleep on the sofa, holding the mended Nutcracker. Jake was certain her sofa was more comfortable than his cushion, and he wanted another scratch and a snuggle too. So in a flash, he did his most energetic chasse, jete, pas de bourrée, whirl, twirl, and grand plop right onto Clara's lap. Clara popped up in surprise, and Jake covered her face with kisses. Everyone, even Sergev, laughed at the ballet's most unusual ending. When it was time for Allegra to leave with Jake, Sergev rubbed the pup's head affectionately. He leaned down and said to Jake, "You may come back for opening night, but only if you stay off stage." "Don't worry," Allegra said cheerfully. "I have an idea." On opening night, Allegra nodded to the dancer playing Drosselmeyer. He came forward with a present for Jake. Anna helped Jake open the box. One by one, Jake pulled out a furry family of toy mice and a large dog bone. Anna placed them all on his cushion. "Ruff, ruff," said Jake. First he licked Anna, then Drosselmeyer, then Allegra. "These should keep him busy for a long time," said Anna. "And in a pose of repose," said Allegra. It worked. Jake stayed off stage for the entire ballet. The only mice he nipped were his very own. At the final curtain call, Anna winked to Jake as she took her most elegant bow. Then, with his nose peeking out from the wings, Jake bowed too.